Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Berner, and I'm head of merchant sales and acquiring for Central Eastern Europe, Middle East, and Africa in Visa. And today we will be talking about acceptance, in particular, acceptance in Sub-Saharan Africa. I'm personally fascinated by Sub-Saharan Africa, by the continent overall, and I think we have multiple opportunities there. One of the opportunities which we see, and probably one of the biggest ones, is how we can grow the acceptance of digital payments in SSA. And today we will be talking about that with someone who knows this very, very well. Brandon Roberts is a founder and also general manager of the company called Littlefish. And Littlefish is a technology company which is enabling merchants and SMEs across Sub-Saharan Africa to accept digital payments. The payment landscape in Sub-Saharan Africa is very diverse, very dynamic, and has amazing opportunity for the growth. The markets are very different. So there are very different regulatory dynamics, very different adoption of the digital technologies, very different infrastructure. But at the same time, I think working together with partners like Littlefish, Visa could bring the opportunity for digital payments to pretty much every SME, and help SMEs to create value and to grow their business. So without probably further ado, I would like to ask Brandon to give us a little bit of a sense of what Littlefish is and what are your strategic priorities.
Thank you, Michael, for the warm introduction. It's really a privilege to be working with you and Visa team on a really set of challenging and exciting initiatives. A bit more about Littlefish and what we do as a company and who we are. My name is Brandon. I'm the CEO of our business, and our focus is on creating a connected experience for small businesses across the actual continent itself. We have a fundamental belief that impact needs to be had, not just on acceptance. We fundamentally also believe that the future of commerce is a connected experience, where merchants operate no different from the analog environment to the digital environments. What this means for us is that typically payments has been at the end of the journey. We want it to feel like it's part of the journey. And why we say this is critical is our company is purely focused on enabling organizations that have a merchant base, that have small businesses as customers every day, but are unable to serve them the way that they feel best. They're unable to extend value, they're unable to give them tools, they're unable to give them services, and they're unable to move the needle when it comes to cost. A very simple example is a small business trading at a higher volume, you can provide a world of services. But an SME that's a street trader trading predominantly in cash is by default most likely excluded. And what they do on a day-to-day is generally disconnected from the payments environment, or there's 7, 8, 9, 10 different service providers that are on the chain purely to make this small business or enterprise digital. And that's a burden that we want to solve for by consolidating and creating an environment that you can just simply turn on for our customers, that they can enable their customers, being their merchants, their small businesses, and even some enterprises. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Brandon. I think this is very important and very interesting. Your largest market, in terms of the markets where you operate, your largest market is South Africa. So what's happening in small business in South Africa, and why acceptance is so vitally important when it comes to the growth opportunities for SMBs?
Thank you, Michael. You are correct. Our largest market right now is South Africa, and also we are proudly South African. A very, very important part of our heritage, and we feel that this has shaped a lot of how we see our solutions, how we think we're building. And your question went back to, how do we see the acceptance landscape changing, evolving, and really just playing out in South Africa right now? And to answer you, we're seeing a lot more acceptance of digital solutions or technology-led capabilities first. Prior to COVID and prior to other really market changes, small businesses detracted from using digital tools, using their cell phones for business, even feeling familiar with these capabilities was second nature. We're seeing that shift. And with that shifting, we're also seeing not necessarily direct payment adoption, but we're seeing a lot more of embedded payments adoption, i.e. embedded acceptance capabilities. And this is where we're seeing an industry shift. Prior, we would provide a point of sale terminal or QR capability sitting outside of the daily operations and trade. So outside of the business solution, which could be an ePOS, a booking system, an invoicing system, all these various things. Today, what we're finding is incumbents are saying, we want to provide the entire set of services with payments embedded inside. So payments now, like technology, become second nature. Very simply saying is, my act as a business owner is to provision an invoice. As soon as I provision the invoice, my customer should be able to pay through whichever acceptance mechanism is already pre-embedded with a simple turn-on. So we're seeing the South African market really shift in focusing on saying, how do we complement the way our customers, being the small businesses, trade, and embedding acceptance in their daily tools, rather than being something I open separately to try and activate a request for some form of payment or acceptance beyond that. So really, it's more of an holistic merchant approach as opposed to individual siloed acceptance capabilities.
Brandon, 4 years back, we were all hit by COVID-19 pandemic, which made our lives very, very different. So what trends did you observe when it comes to SMB acceptance and what kind of challenges and opportunities COVID-19 brought to digital payments?
In the initial period of COVID, we definitely saw an increase in digital solutions, payment acceptance, and a few other capabilities on the day-to-day. Purely because if I served my customers in a face-to-face environment, physically coming and purchasing from me, I could service them. COVID-19, that was taken away, which we all know. But post the pandemic, there was at some point a decline of usage of digital services and payments, once again, if we look at some of our trends. But there was still a steady amount of merchants that remained. And if we think of what has emerged from this trend and what has been the actual change, the change that we believe that's been seen is the more willingness to use digital solutions, to feel safe using them, and to start understanding. But when we started using them, we saw a gap. And the gap was, I have to have my payment solution to accept a payment from my customer, separate from my e-commerce solution, separate from my in-store point of sale, separate from my invoicing tool, and my accounting packages. This environment made it complicated and expensive to run and operate. So the trend we've seen now is solutions and platforms like Littlefish, which is a white label platform for our customers. We provision payments in an environment that is embedded within business tools and solutions. So the trend coming out of COVID-19 is the shift to more combined and consolidated products that complement the way small businesses are trading, with the inherent expectation that payments just work.
Let's shift the gears a little bit and talk about South Africa in particular. Payment ecosystem in South Africa is probably one of the most advanced in SSA, and it is constantly evolving. It is transforming. So how Littlefish is staying ahead, and how you guys satisfy the needs of the small merchants?
We believe, and we've taken a stance, that there's 3 cycles to most environments. The first cycle will be it's incumbent that your traditional service providers, your larger enterprises that have been around for many years. The second phase comes into the environment of your new enablers, we call them disruptors, people that find the gaps in those services and try and increase their experience. But over a period of time, 5, 10 years, these services become pretty standard. Now, at this point is where we believe as Littlefish to stay ahead, Our role is to be the platform enabler. Our role is to take all the standard capabilities, package it into a unique solution that can be tailored for every type of merchant and configured, and then given to our customers to compete on a level playing field of common services. So what that really means for us is the standard of how SMBs or small businesses are enabled hasn't really shifted for the last couple of years since the enablers came in. They've really been trying to increase market share and access. But is that bringing new innovation? Is that really shifting the tide? Or is everybody just getting a point of sale? Our view is, if everybody is getting a similar capability, let's standardize this with platform. Let's take it into the industry. Let's enable the parties with the day-to-day capabilities, and let's start innovating on top of that. So why keep rebuilding all the same things? So our role as Littlefish is purely, let's bring the technology, let's invest in the experience, let's create a plug-and-play environment, and let's allow our customers and partners to innovate independently without doing things that have been around for a long time.
Excellent. That's absolutely great to hear. And you mentioned that Littlefish is actually providing a platform. So talking about the service which you provide as a platform, how you measure the effectiveness of the growth and development which it brings to the SMEs in South Africa?
On that question, Michael, really important to understand our customers are generally financial services providers, fintechs, some of the banking incumbents. And when they implement a platform like Littlefish, the first thing we try and understand is, what does their merchant base look like? How do we focus on elements of growth? And what is the most logical way for them to go from accepting just purely a flat payment today to be ingrained in their customers' day-to-day operations? So those questions we ask. And then after asking those questions, we then go into our platform and say, for a street trader that most likely is requiring a cash book and 3 various payment methods, let's configure that experience and measure how many transactions on their day-to-day may come through and how we are tracking the variable usage outside of electronic payments as well. Could be cash, could be expenses, could be money out, could be money in, could be adding new customers of their own to the system, because we're very interested in being a part of their day. When we go from a street trader to, let's say, a coffee shop, we understand that there's a different set of needs. Yeah, we might have complex products. We might have ingredients. We might have an inventory capability. We might have a turn on an e-commerce function, which is to allow customers to order and pick up the goods and pay online or pay in store. You might have a service business, which is a mechanic that needs job cards and quotes, etc. Previously, these would all be separate solutions and offerings outside of payments. With Littlefish as a platform, you configure these types of merchant profiles and you simply press deploy. The second you press deploy, no matter what POS device you're running, Littlefish supports it today. We support 5 different POS devices. We are able to deploy across mobile, Android, iOS, Huawei, browser, etc. So Littlefish becomes your omni-channel merchant front-facing solution that you can just start plugging products and publishing them at once. Because we're able to go so granular to a particular segment, down to even saying, hey, Michael Berner is our merchant we're targeting. His demographics would be based on age, gender, demographics, location, and therefore we want Michael to feel that this was so specially designed for him. And the shop next door would have the same. So when we measure effectiveness and usage, we're not measuring it outside of who you actually are. And that allows us now with our customers to keep understanding which keys to start turning and what levers to start adjusting. And that effectiveness is really what's been helping ourselves and our customers measure and evolve uptake.
So when it comes to sub-Saharan Africa and South Africa as well, I think there is a broader goal of the financial inclusion and overall economic empowerment, which is quite important, comes to the picture inevitably. So how you see fintechs like Littlefish playing a role into that?
In relation to financial inclusion, diversity, and also the ability to spread capabilities, our role as Littlefish, we believe that why is inclusion not happening effectively? Let's just kind of start there, and then we'll say what decision did we take to try and play our part. The first piece is a lot of financial inclusion relates to the ability to access a financial service, the ability to get various tools and capabilities that's recognized and authenticated. And then the last is how remote may I end up being to actually quantify some financial service in some shape or form, whether this be a card, a loan, an account, a facility, some financial education, whatever this is. As Littlefish, we've decided to provide our services to other larger enterprises. Reason being is cost. The cost to distribute as an independent fintech various solutions purely increases the barrier to actually promote financial inclusion. What do we mean by this? Is if Littlefish was to directly attract X amount of small businesses, we would have to increase the on-charge on payments, issuance, on general day-to-day transactions, on all these things. By going through an incumbent, we are able to reduce the price quite dramatically of the cost to serve. We are able to bring a lot of peripheral services like logistics, lending, insurance capabilities, investment opportunities into the hands of the everyday SMB that they would have never been able to access before. Also giving them new services and products, whether they can buy from our buying groups, whether they want to sell VAS, all of it all of a sudden becomes instantly enabled without stacking fees. Because when you look at the value chain, you've got the incumbents, the schemes, the processors, whatever you want to call it. They sit here. Then you've got the fintech with their costs. Then you just really have the cost to distribute, which is unattractive for financial inclusion. So for us, we believe by creating an accessible, affordable, and integrated platform that isn't focused on monetizing payments alone will help our customers achieve their objectives of financial inclusion, specifically in this space.
Thank you very much, Brandon. I think that gave us very comprehensive view on your capabilities and your priorities. Probably the last question for today, looking ahead, if you can share on any of the upcoming initiatives, new launches, any strategic plans which are coming along for the Littlefish in the region.
I'd say the future for us right now is very exciting. We had begun at a very, very selective landscape, just testing, learning some of the market, and also implementing with our customers. The first set of solutions, which was our standalone solution, where we could take any small business, any merchant, any real enterprise, and turn on their digital experiences. From in-store to online trading, integrated payments, onboarding, the lot. But now our next cycle is our integrated solutions. How do we, in this industry, help merchants that have existing solutions in place, where this could be a large enterprise ERP, but they don't have the ability to serve their customers fast in their balls? Or it could be an environment that says, how do I leverage what I already have to understand the next set of things that my business may need? And what I'm referring to here is combining the digital trading information with the actual video analytics. If there's a camera in a small business, how do I understand the effectiveness of their day-to-day trading? If I'm the owner, how do I get a sense for how my customers feel, that my floors are clean, that my shelves are packed, and that when stock was delivered, it got packed in the fridge, along with 10 customers walked in and 7 walked out without buying? That kind of intelligence now is our next evolution of what we're doing, which we feel is a complete shift in the thinking when it comes to enabling SMBs. We need to give them some form of comfort and increase the efficiency of how they run on a day-to-day by making sure their own character and the way that they run is powered through their tools.
Brandon, thank you very much. That was a fascinating discussion, and it was very interesting to hear how you guys contributing to the financial inclusion in sub-Saharan Africa, and of course, developing the payment infrastructure landscape, helping millions and millions of SMBs to accept digital payments and to grow their business by doing that. For those of you who are interested in learning more about Visa acceptance solutions or Littlefish, please go to the video description. You will find the links there. As well as please contact your Visa account manager if you need any further details. We would be very happy to provide you with the answers to your possible questions. And for now, thank you for watching this video today, and we really hope to see you soon.